Okay, kids, we're back, and that's just in case there is some music. So uh, let's move on. Okay, we were talking last time about D-Rats and the laptop, all this other good stuff, and I've been progressing with that through that, and we were having some issues, but we finally got a reflector working on one of the machines, and it seems to be working just like it's supposed to. So, the Dell Latitude, and we've talked about the Dell Latitude in the past. And since we're over here doing this, and those of y'all who are listening to me after the fact can come over here and watch the video, this is the Dell Latitude, which we've been working with. It's about 10 years old, 500 megahertz, 128 megs, 6 gig hard drive, little old bitty thing. So we went ahead and got that set up. We plugged in everything in like we were supposed to, and when we went to fire up on the air, we couldn't get the radio to transmit. Well, I take it back. We could get it to transmit, but it wasn't hearing. Now, one of the problems was we're having to set the reflector up on one of the other machines here. One of the other machines here in the shack. So, what I did was I have a machine left over from when I was running the WinLink project a few years back, and it does on the other partition have a copy of Windows XP Pro. Now, what's going on? What's going on is that the for some reason things aren't working just right in Debian based Linuxes where the repeater software for DRATs is concerned. I've been working with Dan on it. I've been sending him messages. He's been sending me messages. He's got probably a whole partition full of my logs from DRATs, and he's working on that. Plus, they've developed some packages so that it can be downloaded, RPMs and debs, so it can be downloaded and that kind of stuff. Just to cut through the problems, and I'm going to come back to it and get it running on the Linux version. Just to cut through the problems, I went ahead and put the reflector on that Windows XP Pro machine. It doesn't do much of anything else, and in fact, earlier somebody mentioned Audible. I'm still trying to get all my books on my audio books off of that machine because they have DRM, and get them in a format where I can use them on something other than a Windows machine. So we went ahead and punched in the right information to get the thing connected to the Ratflector. We plugged in the radio. Radio didn't work. I'm sitting here going nuts because I've got the Latitude down there and the IC91 plugged into it, and I'm able to transmit and receive on the laptop, which is currently running Crunchbang Linux. And at some point, probably on the other show, we will talk about Crunchbang Linux because I'm learning all kinds of stuff about it. Anyway, so this was plugged in with DRATs, Crunchbang Linux into the Dell Latitude computer. The reflector was running on the Windows XP Pro partition of another machine. And what I found out was that the first machine that it was on, for some reason it wasn't seeing the USB to serial port adapters correctly. Once I got it plugged in over on the XP Pro machine, which had the drivers because I had run them on there for the WinLink project, I'm pointing at the packet controller right now, even though y'all can't see it. It's there. So it is now up and running. Now I was also able, there's some new features in DRATs where you can pull down RSS feeds, you can send a text file using QSTs is what they're called, and DRATs. They're basically a beacon that you can set up to run at different intervals and that kind of stuff. So one of the things I was doing when I finally got the radio operating was bursting weather data from the airport closest to me over the air. Now, I didn't want to do that too long because the reflector was set up where it had HF port and the reflector port, the reflector over at Dan's. And I didn't want to bore those guys with it, so I pulled it off there and let it chug along for a while, and it ran just like it was supposed to. Just like it was supposed to. So now we're at the point that we've got the laptop going. We've got the portable operation part of it set up. We've got the reflector going here. And as far as moving it from one machine to another, all I have to do is close the port on one machine in the firewall, open the port back up on another machine in the firewall, and we've got that going. Now, there's other things that we're going to proceed to in the future, which one of the things you can do with DRATs is forward emails. Create an email gateway to send information back and forth via the internet to each other. Where this is going to come in handy in our situation here locally is not only do we have D-Star in the EOC, we also have a computer in the DMZ where we can send and receive emails. So this is going to solve issues, especially if I get a gateway set up here and we have one or two more gateways set up around town, and the emails can be pushed through those gateways out onto the internet and come in and be picked up in the EOC that direction. We've got big plans for this system here. It is really coming along, and I know I talked about DRATs or D-Star on the last episode, but this is kind of an impromptu thing. Us talking amongst friends, a live show. I have done put everybody in the chat room to sleep, so it's just you and me. Just you and me. And that's okay, because we can just keep it chugging on along. I bet I lost that first segment a while ago. I just realized that. I bet I lost the first segment. But that's okay, because it's a live show. Alright. Now, I've run my head for a pretty good amount of time, and the music's so long, or had gotten so long on the show, that some people are griping. But that's okay. They can start their own show. Oh, yeah. I'll just talk about that at the end. Alright. So, just in case there's some more music, I'll be right back.